In this video, we're going to look at the titration of a strong acid with a strong base. For this video, we're only going to look at monoprotic strong acids. So that includes perchloric acid, HClO4, nitric acid, HNO3, hydroiodic acid, HI, hydrobromic acid, HBr, and hydrochloric acid, HCl. When we talk about the addition of a strong base, we typically mean a group 1 cation, so sodium hydroxide, lithium hydroxide, or potassium hydroxide would typically be our strong base. When we talk about titration, the word with implies, or it tells us what is what in the reaction. So our strong acid is our sample. Sometimes this is also called an analyte. Our strong base is our titrant. So as we go through our titration, we're going to be talking about the pH of the solution in the flask. So at the initial start of the titration, we're just talking about the strong acid, and then we're going to monitor the progression of the reaction over time through pH. You'll notice there's a slight color change in our solution. That's from an indicator, and we'll talk about that as well. So we're going to walk through the titration of a strong acid with a strong base. So in this case, we're going to titrate 10 milliliters of 0.1 mole per liter HCl with 0.1 mole per liter NaOH. So our HCl is going to ionize in solution and will be present as H3O plus and Cl minus. And our NaOH will ionize or will dissociate in solution and will be present as Na plus and OH minus. So what that means is that our net ionic equation will be between H3O plus and Na or an OH minus. So the net ionic equation of this titration will be hydronium plus hydroxide to form water. So our H3O is our sample, so it's what we start with. And our OH is our titrant, so it's what we're adding. So we're going to walk through this titration step by step and talk about what's happening at each stage. Okay, so we have a titration curve for this titration. What you'll notice is that it starts at a low pH because initially we just have our sample, which is acid. And then our pH will slowly climb and then shoot up and then level off at a high pH, which makes sense because we're adding a base. So one important part of this titration is the equivalence point. And our equivalence point is found at 10 milliliters. So the equivalence point is the point in the titration where the moles of our sample, which is HCl, is equal to the moles of our titrant, which is NaOH. This happens at 10 milliliters. We have 10 milliliters of 0.1 mole per liter HCl. Because we have an equal concentration of NaOH, we need an equal volume. So we will have equal moles at 10 milliliters. Our equivalence point has a pH of 7, and we're going to talk about why that is in just a moment. So first we're going to start at why the initial pH of our sample is low and how we can determine that. So before the titration even begins, we just have a flask filled with HCl. So that flask will have ionized HCl, which is H3O plus, chloride, and water. Because this is a strong acid, our pH will just be the negative log of this concentration. So the negative log of 0.1 is 1. So our initial concentration is 1. As our reaction proceeds, we start to react our initial acid with our base. At 5 milliliters, this is our half equivalence point because we've added half of the acid or half of the titrant that we need. And at this point, we've reacted away half of our sample. So we will have H3O plus still, because we still haven't reacted away all of our sample. So we'll still have H3O plus and Cl minus. We'll still have water. However, now we also have some sodium from our sodium hydroxide. We won't have any hydroxide though, because every drop of hydroxide we add is immediately reacted by the hydronium. And so before our equivalence point, the limiting reagent is our titrant. So this is NaOH. And our excess reagent is our sample, which is HCl. At our equivalence point, because we have equal moles of our acid and our base, the only thing that will be present in our flask is the products of our titration and the products of the reaction. So we're going to have water as well as our spectator ions, sodium and chloride. The reason that our pH is at 7 is because we have 3 species that are neither acidic nor basic. So water is amphiprotic but has a pH of 7. Sodium is neither acidic nor basic, and chloride is neither acidic nor basic. So we have a neutral solution, pH of 7. After our equivalence point, we continue to add NaOH. And so after our equivalence point, so if we go halfway past our equivalence point, now we'll have Na plus present from our sodium hydroxide. We'll have excess hydroxide because we're no longer have any acid left to react this hydroxide we're adding. We'll have chloride from our HCl, and we will have water. So we have no more acid left after this point. So any hydroxide we add is just going to change the pH of our solution. So after our equivalence point, our limiting reagent is our sample, and our excess reagent is our titrant. The sample or the pH will flatten out because we're going to hit a maximum concentration of hydroxide. This is going to be slightly below our maximum pH of 0.1 molar sodium hydroxide because it's being diluted by the water that was present in the flask from the first half of the reaction. So our final pH will be a little bit below 13, which is the pH of 0.1 molar sodium hydroxide. The last thing we're going to talk about is choosing an indicator. So you can find indicators on page 10 in your booklet. And when you choose an indicator, you want it to have an endpoint or a color change. So the endpoint of an indicator is where the color change occurs. So we want that color change to happen as close as possible to our equivalence point. If we chose an indicator like phenolphthalein, it's going to change color at a pH of 8.2. It's going to turn light pink. And so phenolphthalein would not be a terrible indicator for us to choose because we can see that our titration, basically our curve shoots straight up between pH of about 5 and a pH of about 9. And so changing color around 8 is going to provide us a pretty accurate volume for our equivalence point. Another indicator we could choose would be bromothymol blue. Bromothymol blue is going to turn green at a pH of 6 and stay green until 7.6. Below that, it's going to be yellow, and above that, it's going to be blue. So bromothymol blue would also be an acceptable indicator to use because its color change is very close to the equivalence point pH for our titration.